It's completely different from what we do in this class. In this morning, you do maybe 4 or 5 poses in the whole class. They're supported by props, and it's much quieter and slower. And then you have this deeper ability to be in poses. It has a very like restful quality by the end. So not physical and sweaty, but still a really great practice. I would recommend trying it sometime. And we have plenty of those classes on Evolution Go. Okay, let's get started. Come into child's pose. Toes together, knees open, arms forward on your forehead, down on your mat. So allow yourself to just get settled in here, head resting, body at ease, and let your breath just move. However it is coming to you naturally, in and out of your body, just watch it. It's only through years of practicing yoga that I've trained myself to start by looking at my breath when there's anything I want to shift about how I'm approaching or experiencing something. Meaning like if I'm getting upset by something or I'm worried about something, I've got now from my training an instinct to just look at my breath. And then the first thing to do is put extra attention on the exhale and start to give the exhale a little bit more space. That's usually what goes first. And then as we shift into our yoga breath, Ujjayi breath, add in pauses between the inhale and the exhale. That wouldn't be there in a healthy, natural, everyday breath, but it is there in this specific breath we use for a Vinyasa yoga practice. Then maybe it's with a sigh, or maybe you can just start implementing it. Bring in the quality that this breath is moving through the back of your throat with volume. You can feel it and hear it coming out of the back of your throat. And from that, you'll have created your Ujjayi breath, a breath of fire, builds an inner heat. Listen for your neighbor breathing. Intend to share with them your breathing. And then we'll begin to match movement to breath. So on your next inhale, lift your body up into downward facing dog, the shape of an upside down letter V in your body. And then start exploring. Keep your breath flowing, but bend and straighten your knees and start to stretch out your toes, the arches of your feet, the backs of your knees. And then begin to build the foundation. So your hands, feet, and core are what create the foundation. So right now, maybe more width or more length between the hands and the feet. And each one of your toes and your fingertips can work their way into and off of the mat, making connection. Take one more breath here, then look to the front of your mat and step to the front of your mat. Once you get there, inhale, lift up halfway, stretch long from tail to crown, and then exhale, hang down. Fold your arms, sway from side to the rhythm of your breath. And then be purposeful with your foundation here. Set your feet pretty wide so that your base feels sturdy, and pick your toes up. Shift your weight around in your feet until your feet feel steady and connected to the floor. Steady, steady breathing. Let's stay here hanging for just a couple of breaths to really cultivate the breath. Listen for the people around you. Listen for Allison at home and those who are at home, and we'll listen for her and them. Then press your feet down into your mat. Take your time. Come rolling up to standing until you can sweep your arms overhead. Look up for the ceiling and stretch up from the floor to your fingertips, and then hands into prayer position and pause. Set your gaze on one point that's still in the room and set an intention for the practice. So intentions are statements like, I'm curious, or I'm present, or I'm willing. And then we're going to use that statement a lot today. So pick something you want to work with. 3 times we'll chant Om together. Take a deep breath in. Inhale, reach up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale as you empty. Steady breath out and hover. Then inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths while you're breathing. Bring present to the top of your mind your intention. 2 more breaths. We'll hold the intention at the top of the mind through these sun salutation A's. On the exhale, bend your knees, look forward, move up to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. Press your feet down, stand up, reach up, presence the intention, fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway, low plank as you exhale. Upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. 3 breaths here. Now, we usually state our intentions as I am. 1 more time, breathe in. On the exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold, press down, stretch up. In fact, stretch back, fold to the floor, steady exhale. Halfway lift, low plank as you empty your breath steady. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. So what if I'm curious? What if I'm present? 1 more time, breathe in. On the exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Press down, reach up, stretch, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe. So transform your intention statement from I am, and then whatever you had selected, to what if. Take 1 more breath in, breath out, look forward, and jump to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold, chair pose, and hold this pose and breathe. So with your intention top of mind, different from I am, I'll use curious, to what if I'm curious. Bring that intention to your mind, what if I'm curious, or whatever yours is, and set up the pose from your feet to the pit of your belly to your fingertips. Then 1 more breath in and fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. What if I'm curious? Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge, and we'll hold this. Arms overhead and breathe. Set your gaze. And as you breathe, present your intention. We're holding this. Keep your breath flowing for 3 more breaths. Keep shaping up the pose based on your intention. 2 more breaths. What if? How would this pose be for the last breath? What if I'm curious? Then hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left side step forward. We'll hold this side. Arms overhead and breathe. Eyes on one point, your breath steady, and your intention coming in your mind with what if in front of it. And then with that intention in your mind, start building the pose from your feet, what if I'm curious, to your deep lunge, what if I'm present, to the pit of the belly up to your fingertips. 3 more breaths. What else is there for you in the pose with your intention? 2 more breaths. Last one, reach. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. What if I'm patient? Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe. You've got 3 here. Deep breath in, long breath out. 2 more, inhale and exhale. 1 more time, inhale. On the exhale, bend your knees and jump. We'll flow now. Halfway lift and fold. Chair pose, sit, presence your intention, and fold. Halfway lift, drop to the low plank and empty. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward. Bring the intention, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, Downward facing dog, left foot step. Inhale, look up and reach. Hands to the floor, chaturanga, and empty. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe. You can always take a sigh here to just clear your space. That's it. 2 more. Keep the intention present as a what if statement. 1 more time. On the exhale, bend your knees, jump, halfway lift, fold, chair pose, sit, deep reach, fold, steady. Halfway lift, steady exhale, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge. Inhale, reach, hands down, chaturanga, and empty. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left side step. Lift up, look up, hands steady to the floor, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, breathe. We're here in our practice each time to discover something we don't already know, not to reaffirm all the things we do know. 1 more round. Inhale, exhale, bend your knees, and jump. Halfway lift, fold. Chair pose, sit deep, keep stretching out your exhales, fold. Halfway lift, low plank, empty, and discover the pose for the first time. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot step, lunge, inhale, lift, hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, you got it, downward facing dog, left side step, lunge, reach, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Up dog, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and just clear your space. Raise your right leg into the air, bend your knee and flip the pose over. Once your feet land, set your gaze and steady breath. With your hand on the floor, press down into the mat, and with your hand that's in the air, reach up until you get light, then overhead. Now, what if I'm present? What if I'm patient? What if I really am strong? What if I really do know what I'm doing? Side plank. Bring your right hand to the mat, turn and face the long left side of your mat, and stack your body up. You got it. Every now and then you notice yourself having to rearrange on the mat, and that's fine. Stack up like you're a letter T that has tipped over. 2 more breaths. You can always bring your bottom knee down to the mat. Last breath, high plank to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward for crescent lunge. Arms overhead and set your gaze. Breathe. What if I was as strong as I needed to be to make it through the whole practice? Steady breath. What if I had enough energy? How would the pose be? You got it. Now that you've been in it for a second, feel free to look at the pose as though you're in it for the first time ever in your life. Maybe you can step a little longer. You could always bring your back knee down if you wanted. Look up and reach up. Keep your breath flowing. 1 more time, then hands to prayer and twist. Bring your left elbow to your right knee. So you'll be turning toward the back side of the room. That's it. You're welcome to open your arms, half bind the pose or fully bind the pose. Take yourself to the edge of the pose for you today. Then 3 more breaths. Each breath, bring present your intention and let it form and shape the pose. Let's go for 1 more inhale. Stay here on the last exhale. Reach up to crescent lunge and set your gaze. Keep that. Open your body to warrior 2. So you'll face the long left side of your mat now. Feet long apart in a deep lunge. Lunge down low. Open your arms wide and tilt for extended side angle. You can reach for the floor and reach for the ceiling. You could bind your arms behind your back. What if I was more flexible than I think I am? 3 more breaths. 2 more. Last one, fullest expression. Then hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and clear your space. Raise your left leg into the air behind you. Bend your knee, heel to your hip, and flip the pose over 2 feet to the floor. What if I'd never done this pose before and today was the very first time ever? What's interesting in the pose right now? 3 breaths here. 2 more. Side plank is next. Left hand to the mat, face the long right side of the mat. There's so many options here. It could be that your bottom knee is down on the ground and your top leg is straight. Press down to rise up. You got it. 2 more breaths. Last breath, high plank to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side crescent lunge, step forward. So you're standing now on the ball of your back foot, or to customize the pose, maybe have your back knee down. Otherwise, arms are overhead and your eyes, just keep those fixed on one point and breathe. Now take yourself physically to where you go in this pose, and then bring your intention present, top of mind, phrased as a what if statement, and then see what you see in the pose with that in mind. 3 more breaths. Finish the last breath, then hands to prayer position and twist to the left. Bring your right elbow to your left knee. Turn toward the street. You got it. Once your elbow is settled, you can open your arms, bottom arm to the floor, top arm to the ceiling. Maybe wrap your top arm behind your back. Take yourself to your physical edge in the pose. Then 3 more breaths. Either listen to yourself inhale and exhale, or listen to your mantra in your head. Finish your last breath. Then on the inhale, crescent lunge and set your gaze. Set it on one point. Open your body to warrior 2. That's it, right? Settle into your legs, into your feet. Stretch your arms and tilt for extended side angle. Steady breathing. Maybe your statement is, what if I could? What if I am capable of this? Take yourself to your physical edge in the pose. 3 more breaths. 2 more. You got 1 more. Then hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Take 1 deep breath in, exhale, look forward and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold, chair twist, sit back, hands to prayer, twist toward the right, left elbow to your right knee. Deep breathing the whole way. Perhaps you set an intention that was, I am breath. And now throughout the whole practice, you're exploring, what if I am breath? What if I am breathing? Take yourself to the edge of your pose. 3 more breaths here. 2 more, steady, easy state of mind. 1 more. Chair pose on the inhale. Forward fold on the exhale. Open your feet hip width distance and hook your big toes. Lift halfway and fold down. Shake your head out. Shift your weight around. Maybe your intention was, I am ease. And right now you're exploring, what if I am ease right here? Release your feet for crow pose. It can be done seated or it can be done hands down. Seated looks like this. It's a triangle shape with or a diamond shape, arms in between. It could be toes on the ground or toes in the air, arms pressing out and knees pressing in. Every time you exhale, you press the floor away with your palms and suck the core of your belly in so your body's round and hollow. 3 more breaths. Breathe in. Exhale a little stronger. 2 more. Inhale and exhale. Last one. Inhale. If you're in the hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. From the down dog, take a breath in, a sigh out, look forward, jump forward. Halfway lift, forward fold, chair twist to the left now. So sit back, hands to prayer, right elbow to your left knee. Keep your breath flowing. Use your breath to feel what you can feel in the pose. Notice what you maybe haven't noticed before, and then work with that. Sit deep. So if you find yourself in more of a cautious holding back stance, sit deep and let it all go. Just go to the edge of the pose. And then there for 3 more breaths. Soft chest and shoulders, soft neck. Last breath. Chair pose and forward fold for gorilla pose. So open your feet hip width distance. Tuck your palms under your feet from the front and stand on your hands. If you find that your breath feels really quick, maybe take a sigh and start to lengthen out your exhales. What if I'm calm? What if I'm easy as my breath gets accelerated and then I soften, lengthen, and relax it? Shake your head out, let go of the weight of your head, let it hang down toward the floor. 1 more breath. Crow pose. So seated crow if you'd like, crow on the hands if you'd like, and if you're looking for a greater adventure, you can try pendant pose, 1 leg at a time, and that's where the leg hangs in the center of the pose, just like that, Adam. If you're going wild and crazy, both legs hang in the center of the pose. 3 more breaths wherever you are. Keep your breath flowing. On the last breath, it's chaturanga to the low plank. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. In the down dog, take a deep breath in, wipe it out with an exhale. 1 more time, inhale, sigh on the exhale, then look forward and move up to your hands. Halfway lift and fold. Press your feet down, come rolling up to standing and sweep your arms overhead. Set your drishti. Now right side eagle pose. Wrap your right arm under your left and your right leg over your left leg. You got it. That's it. So squat down, twist your legs. See if your toes will tuck behind your calf muscle. Steady gaze. What if I'm strong? Keep your gaze. Step out. Inhale, reach up. Left arm under, left leg over as you exhale. Steady gaze. What if I'm steady from pose to pose, breath to breath through every transition? Inhale, step out. Exhale, right arm under, right leg over. Steady breath the whole time. Next, inhale, step out. Exhale, left arm under, left leg over. So cross them under at your elbows. Twist your forearms. Steady gaze. Balance comes from a steady gaze, a steady mind, a steady breath. Step out on the inhale and stretch up. On the exhale, hug your right knee into your chest. Keep your gaze. Stay right with the flow of the poses from pose to pose. Then hold your foot and extend your leg forward and breathe. One of the activities of this set of poses is you can keep holding your knee. is the ability to just keep your gaze steady as you move your body from pose to pose and your breath steady. Switch hands on your knee or foot, so left hand to hold. Turn, look, and reach to the back of the room. Keep your breath flowing. Keep your breath flowing, and if you fall out of the pose, do it to the rhythm of your breath and bring yourself back into the pose to the rhythm of your breath. One more. Can you cause calm in your area of the room through your breathing and your intention? Come forward, hug your knee into your chest, set your drishti. Open up, airplane pose, stretch, steady breathing. Steady, steady breath. Now presence your intention here. Steady breath. What if I am present? Stay with it. Hands to prayer position. Press your palms together. Get steady. Half moon. Left fingertips down, right arm up. The whole practice, just like life, is a series of right now moments, one after. And inside of every right now moment is breath, drishti, and foundation. Bend your top knee, catch your top ankle, or stay in the half moon. 5 more breaths. You can do this. Steady. You got 3 more. You got 2 more. 1 more. 2 feet down and hang. Sway from side to side. Get acquainted with your feet on the floor and let your feet being with the floor make you steady. Set your gaze. Now press down with your feet, come rolling up to standing, and set your gaze. Hug your left knee into your chest. Breathe. Resolve to stay with it. Even if you fall out, do it while your gaze stays on one point. You can hold your foot and extend your knee if you would like. Breathe. Eyes on one point, just focus on your breathing. Switch hands on your foot or knee. Turn, look, reach to the back of the room, or keep your gaze forward if that's best for your balance. Breathe. Let yourself be in the pose for a few breaths where the breath just moves in and out of your body, every cell being nourished. Come forward, hug your knee into your chest and set your gaze. Steady breath. Open up to airplane pose. All you need is your breath, your gaze, and your intention. What if I'm strong? What if I'm present? Hands to prayer, press them together and steady yourself. Half moon. Right arm down to the block or floor under your shoulder. Left arm in the air. What if I'm steady right now? What if I bring steadiness in my area of the room? Steady breath, steady gaze. Stay steady with it no matter what goes on around you. Bend your knee, catch your ankle, stay with it. You've got this. 5 more breaths. Stay with it. You can do this. You have 2 more breaths. Forward fold and hang. 2 feet on the floor, eyes on one point. This helps you to get grounded. Intend that you're getting settled here. Then press your feet into the mat. Come rolling up to standing with your eyes on that point until you switch them to the point in front of you. Arms overhead, right arm behind you, catch your ankle. Eyes on one point. Resolve that your eyes are not leaving that spot, and then work with the pose. Every breath, you see what there is to see, and you work with the pose. That's it. Keep your breath moving. Your intention present. Don't let go of it. Steady breath. Commit to your intention. 5 more breaths to let yourself be with and live inside of the pose. You've got 2 more. Hold nothing back. 2 feet on the floor, eyes stay on your spot, hands on your hips. Try to keep your eyes on the spot the whole way through the entire exercise. Now the left side, keep your eyes on your spot, hold your left ankle. Stretch up, steady breathing. Maybe your concentration the whole time is on every exhale that you take. long and calm as you work yourself into the pose. Usually we only have enough breath and time to get into the pose to not actually be in it. So take yourself to your physical edge. Stay breathing. Eyes on one point. 5 more breaths. Stay with it. Stay. Keep working. You can do this. 2 more. 1 more. Feet on the floor, eyes on your spot, hands on your hips, and breathe. Feel your feet on the ground. Second set, right hand to the right ankle. Your body's doing things, people in the room are doing things, cars are driving by, but you just work in your right now moment, and then the next right now moment, and then the next right now moment with your drishti and your breath and your mantra. Completely present, discovering each moment as it occurs. Take yourself to your physical edge in the pose. 5 more breaths. Work with it. Work with the edge. You're going to have to be pressing out into the edge, dancing with the edge, figuring it out. Finish your last breath. 2 feet on the floor, hands on your hips, and breathe. We're increasing your ability to be present and strong inside of that. Left side, second set. Don't worry about how long you may or may not be here. Go right for your physical edge. Learn how to be in the space of your physical edge, dancing with what's possible there. Coming down to the essence of what matters on your at your edge, breath. Just try it again if you come out. Drishti, intention. Stay here now. 5 more breaths here. You can do this. Work with it. 2 more. Good. Feet on the floor, hands on your hips. Let go of whatever happened. Feet on the floor, hands on your hips, eyes on one point. Tree pose. Sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh and press your palms together. If you're feeling like a little attention is everywhere, just press your palms together. Just use the physicalness of pressing your palms together to settle your whole system, to settle your breath, to settle your attention. And then switch sides, right foot down, left foot up. As soon as a moment ends, you let it go and you come into this one and discover it. Life goes from a quality of being black and white to technicolor as it gets discovered moment by moment. One more breath here. Step to the front of your mat. Inhale and sweep your arms overhead and fold to the floor. Halfway lift, drop to the chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot inside of your right hand. Open your left arm to triangle pose. 1, 2, just like that, and breathe. Now be in the pose, discovering the pose. Different from between the pose, letting your thinking go away from your intention to something else where you aren't. You're right here in triangle right now. Breath by breath, looking for, working to the physical edge of the pose and discovering it. One more breath here. Come on up to standing. Turn and face the long left side of your mat, hands to your hips. Lift your chest up high and forward fold. Hands all the way down to the ground and breathe. You have a lot of different options here. You can walk your fingertips in front of you, settle your hips behind you, and all the way down the side of your body from pinky finger to hip, stretch. Breathe into the space between every one of your ribs. Make long the area between your armpit and your hip crease and your armpit and your baby fingers. Then walk your hands back into center line. Come on up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat. Standing single leg forward fold. Arms behind you and interlace your hands. Lift your chest up high and fold. Get the stretch from hips and hands back to chest and head forward. And then finish folding the whole way down your thigh. Keep on breathing. There should be a lot of stretch in the back of your front leg from heel all the way up to your sitting bone. A little softness to your front knee for many people. Even here, there's a physical edge to the pose for all the different variations. Twisting triangle, left fingertips to the block or the floor. You could take this into a reverse half moon if you would like to. Reverse half moon just takes you from the twisting triangle to stepping forward and lifting your back leg up. Wherever you are, you're going to pull your right hip back. 3 more breaths. The right hip, pull it back to the back of the room and let your chest open. 2 more breaths. Last breath. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Take 1 breath in, 1 breath out. Left foot inside of your left hand, right arm in the air, triangle pose, and breathe. Yeah, right into it. This is one of those tricky spots where a lot of times we get really out of the practice. Eyes are all kinds of different places. The pattern of breathing goes away. Feel what you feel here in your body in this pose, and then from there, create what's possible. Before we leave the pose, internally with your felt sense, look around your body at the pose one more time. See whatever there is to see, whatever else there is to do. Then come on up to standing and face the long right side of your mat. Arms around behind you, interlace your hands behind your back and open your chest. Then fold. You'll have so much space between your hip crease and armpits. Allow that space to open up as you breathe. You might mostly feel this in the backs of your legs or the fronts of your shoulders. All of those spots are good spots. A sigh inside of the pose can be a very settling effort. Come on up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat for standing single leg forward fold. You could keep the mind behind your back and lift up and then fold, working from heel to sitting bone in your front leg to get as much length as you can. So try a little longer stance. Yeah, give yourself a little more challenge there. And then you'll have to soften your front knee. Yes. Yes. Breathe. Keep dragging your left hip back, Allison. Yes. Yes, it squares you up from the front. Take a breath in the pose, have a sigh in the pose and settle deeper. Then twisting triangle, right hand to the block or floor, or step forward for reverse half moon. Good, back legs, lift them higher if you're taking reverse half moon. The whole back row, lift your back legs high. That's it, activate your back feet. Now turn toward the left side of the room. Turn toward the left side of the room and lift your chest. 1 more breath. And step out of it. Back to the downward facing dog. From the downward dog, come to a high plank and lower down to your belly on the mat. Arms around behind and interlace your hands. Keep your toes turned under the way they were for the push-up. Legs active. You can see Tina's legs giving you the example here. Press your heels back like they were pressing into the back wall and lift your chest. So hands back, heels back, tailbone back. Pit of your belly into your body, up to your chin, chest forward, crown of your head forward. 3 breaths here. Steady, easy breath. You have 2 more. You got 1 more here. Come on down. Shake your hips from side to side. You could do it by bending your knees and waving your feet or just shaking your hips from side to side. We'll do a second set. Put your fingertips behind your ears so they just barely touch the skull. Elbows open wide, toes turned under and legs active. Then lift. Lift by getting long and breathe. You don't have to lift high. Let your arms move behind your body, heels back, steady breathing. Not having that one, Neil. 1 more breath. Come on down. Shake your hips. Floor bow, bend your knees, reach back and hold your ankles. So resist the urge to let your knees go really wide. Keep them only hip width distance here. It's so tempting to let your knees get wide. Flex your feet and roll your shoulders back, and then lift up, kick back and up. So you can feel your arm bone hasn't rolled open. I say roll your shoulders back, but you can feel how your whole arm bone just pulls back out of the front of your chest. Let your chest stretch. In the pose, take a breath in and have a sigh, then kick back and kick up. Come on down. Weren't expecting that. Move your feet from side to side. We're going to do a second set. Then your knees reach back and hold your ankles. You can switch the grip. It's a whole different experience. The grip would be like your standing bow where you're holding the inside. You won't kick up as high. Kick back and kick up. You got it. You can always use a strap around your ankles if your ankles feel too far away. 1 more breath. Come on down. Wave your feet from side to side. Then hands on the floor by your bottom rib. Press down and come up to upward facing dog. Pause in the upward dog. You can press the tops of your feet in the mat so your thighs rise off of the floor. Soft elbows. Look over your right shoulder and take a breath. Look over your left shoulder and take a breath. Then look forward, press the ground, downward facing dog. Stretch back. Camel pose, come onto your knees. Hands on your hips in the back, pressing your pelvis in the back down and wide. From your knees, lift up to your chin. Breathe. From your knees all the way up to your chin, lift. From the base of your skull all the way down to the backs of your knees, settle down. If you feel there's more space as you breathe and lift to reach back for your heels, do that. Then the whole time you're holding whatever pose it is you've created for yourself, from your knees up to your chin, lift, and then let it be a cascade down the back of your body. On your next inhale, lift a little higher, hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Stretch out your spine, whole body long and neutral. And we'll take a second set. Knees down, hands to your hips. Shoulders back, knees down, chest up. See if you can notice the stretch from the center of your chest up to your chin and out to your shoulders. There's something under the skin that does that stretching. See if you can feel it stretching. If you end up kind of sinking your chest into your ribs and hinging back, you're not going to get the stretch. It has to be a whole lift up to your chin. See that space at the most bottom of your ribs is all opening as well. It's lifted and supported on the back side. Come on up out of it. Downward facing dog. Hands to the floor. Stretch your body long. Then you can jump through your hands. Sit down and roll onto your back. Bridge pose. Feet on the floor under your knees. Press down and lift your hips up. Once you get lifted up, if your feet are not under your knees, walk them in closer to your bum. And then walk your shoulders underneath of your body. You've got it. You can interlace your hands and press your elbows straight. Bring your right knee into your chest as far as it will go. Then toes up to the ceiling 3 times. Press up like you're pressing a button on the ceiling. 1, 2, 3, heel to your hip and foot on the floor. Other side, knee into your chest, toes up to the ceiling. Press up 1, 2, 3, foot on the floor. Come on down, all the way down, knees side to side. Next one, bridge pose. Press your feet down, lift your hips up, set your shoulders. Once your shoulders are set, fingertips to the ceiling, hands on the floor underneath of your shoulders. Set your hands and feet wide. Press down, rise up into the wheel pose. Once you get up there, shake your head out, let it just hang, and set your drishti, and just take 2 breaths. Then tuck your chin and come on down. Once you're onto your back, knees side to side. Next one, hands, feet on the floor, press down, rise up with very little extra thinking about it. Let your body just start leading here, all the way up. All of the attention on your breathing. Bring your intention front of mind. What if I was present? What if I was strong? What if I was willing? Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side. Keep your intention present. Set it up. Hands, feet on the floor. Press down, rise up. Intention top of mind. Listen to it like a mantra in your mind and shape the pose around your intention. One more breath. Come on down. Set up the next one. Hands, feet on the floor. Press down, rise up. All the way up. Right knee into your chest as far as it will go. Toes up to the ceiling. 3 times press up. 1, 2, 3. Knee to your chest and come on down to the ground. Knees side to side. Last wheel pose. Hands, feet on the floor. Press down, rise up. Other side. Left knee into your chest. Toes straight up to the ceiling. 3 times reach up with your toes. 1, 2, 3. Knee to your chest, foot on the floor, and come on down, Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles together, knees open. What if I were present? What if I were willing? How would this pose be right now? Dead bug pose. Hold the outer edges of your feet and rock from side to side. Legs straight up in the air. Flex your feet so you can see your toenails. Curl up. Try to reach to your baby toes, each hand to its own baby toe. Take a quick look at your belly. Breathe in, blow all of the air out, and sink your abdominal muscles deep inside of your body and keep them there. Now, every time you exhale, reach higher to your baby toes, pulsing 10 times. 10. These are little moves. They're riding on breath. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stretch your whole body out long on the mat. Then right leg in the air. Flex your foot, left leg hovering, not turning your toes out. They point straight to the ceiling. If this in any way hurts or arches your lower back, soften your left knee or even rest your heel on the ground. Then we're going to curl up and reach for your foot and then reach your left hand to your baby toe. Every time you exhale, you'll reach higher for the toe. Breathe in, blow out, and reach. It's little movements. 10 times. All you're doing is not really the sit-up, but you're listening deep into your abdominals to understand which ones are stabilizing you, which ones are contracting and lifting you. And the hint is there's a crisscross going on in your torso. Go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. You have practice run. 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees. Now, my guess is most people just worry about 10 pulses and getting them over. The opportunity, though, is to see how your core works. Other side, set it up. One leg in the air, one leg hovering, or you're accommodating it depending on your body. Curl up. Notice what anchors and what curls, and start to pulse and figure it out. Now bring your intention to mind, different from your counting. You know already I'll take care of the counting. So get your intention and go for 10, 9, 8, 7, not a lot of momentum. We're just listening and interested in what's working in the core. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees. Rock head to tail back and forth until you're in downward dog and bring yourself into right side pigeon pose. And just like that, it's over. Right side pigeon. Right leg forward. So you bring your right knee to your right wrist on the floor. Right shin square to the front of the mat. Lift up and then fold forward. And breathe right here. Even here, you could have your eyes open and your gaze set on one point. With steady breath. And then present your intention here. What if I was present? How would the pose be? What if I were willing? How would the pose be? Sit on your right hip, swing your left leg around for double pigeon. So double pigeon, you have a lot of variations. You could look around the room and see different variations. The baseline pose looks like this, but yours might look like this or even like this. We're looking to be able to sit up tall in the lower back rather than being crunched forward like you feel like you're wearing tight jeans. So set it up so it suits your body. If you've got some knees hanging in the air, blocks to support, especially the bottom one because it's getting forced, would be really great. Customize your practice. If you feel like you're not in the tight jeans, you're sitting up tall, try to hinge forward. Good, a lot of great variations here. Let your hips just soften and open. Let your lower back broaden. Present your intention here as you create this pose. Take one more breath in the pose. And then come out to downward dog and take the left side half pigeon. You can feel one side maybe of your lower back stretching, one side stabilizing. Double pigeon. Sit on your left hip, swing your right leg around. This is one of my favorite poses. If you have any lower back or knee pain, this is a great pose for both of those. Release this pose, reverse tabletop. So lean back onto your hands, fingertips face toward your feet. Press down and rise up. You can feel the stretch across your chest and shoulders. A lot of strength. Sit down and roll onto your flat back. Legs straight up in the air or roll them overhead for plow pose. You can take any inversion that you're working on. I usually stick with the plow pose because I love the stretch in my upper back. Whichever inversion you're working on, all of the principles are really the same. That the pit of your belly, right down at the front of your pelvis, needs to hug in and lift up toward your chin to keep your pelvis stable. Once you get upside down, it really wants to tilt forward, and that really throws off the ability to balance. You'll want your legs active with your thighs wrapping inward to the front midline. And then your feet, still a foundation, though they're in the air. Take 5 more breaths in whichever inversion you're in. When you complete your 5th breath, if you're in the shoulder stand, come to plow and work your way onto your flat back. If you're in a handstand of some sort, take child's pose for a few breaths. Waterfall, hug your knees into your chest. And then you're welcome to be on your flat back and take a simple twist, knees to one side, look to the opposite side. Then switch sides. Next week in the evening, we'll be leaving for our retreat to Morocco. I know, so exciting. We had a couple who had to drop out at the last minute. So if you are someone who's a little wild and crazy and makes last minute decisions, got a little room left if you want to come along next Saturday. You could be packing right now to go to Morocco. Come to the center, hug your knees into your chest. I like to bring my forehead to my knees. I feel like it just stretches out even the skin on the back of my body one last time. And then Supta Baddha Konasana, this one to get your shoulders set, your pelvis into its most natural neutral position. To your upper right or left, you have a cold eye towel. You're welcome to place that over your face. That could feel really great right now. And then finally, Shavasana. So keep your shoulders stable, the bones on the mat, your pelvis, and just stretch your legs out long and wide. And one more time, bring your mantra front of mind. What if I were present? And then allow yourself to just be with your eyes closed, your body still and easy, not forced. If you have a adjustment to make, you can make that. This is an opportunity for a deep rest. It's the kind of rest where you're not required to respond to any stimulation, including resisting responding. You have an opportunity to just be here and sense, notice. Take a deep breath in and exhale through your mouth. Next breath, squeeze your fingers on your toes or maybe move your head from side to side. Then hug your knees into your chest. Roll to your side. Bring yourself up into a sitting position. Reach your arms overhead so that you're able to sit up as tall as possible. And then bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest and pause right here. Take a second to just feel what you feel from your practice today. And set an intention for the rest of the day. And all day long, instead of using your intention as a statement of declaration, I am, use it as a question of curiosity. What if? 3 times, let's chant together. Take a deep breath in. Bring your thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead and inhale. Exhale through your mouth. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you for joining me this morning, practicing together, trying on using your intention as a place to come from curiosity as you create and shape your practice. I look forward to seeing you in class next time. And again, if you want to run off to Morocco in a week, let me know. Yes, it'll be fun.